Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-match reaction for the game Bournemouth versus Man United. For those of us who waited for the game and didn't sleep, it was a good game. It's good that we set the alarm. It lived up to the expectations. I can see Ruben is making a lot of progress with the preseason. There was a reason why he didn't want to come until preseason, although he later said that it was better that he came and he was able to have 6 months to have a look at the squad and understand what the squad needs. So now we are seeing progress in terms of the way the players are moving, in terms of the way the players are linking up with each other. It was a good game, especially that first half. That first half was a very good game. It started with the team news. The team news indicated that Cunha would not play. Mbeumo was also not playing because, according to Amorim, Mbeumo is still not ready. Cunha still has some fatigue. According to the manager, fatigue was the reason why he couldn't play, and they both be in contention to play for the Everton game, which is important because I think it's now 2 games until the Arsenal game for the opening season. So it's Everton, and then we play Fiorentina at Old Trafford before we are ready for Arsenal. The talking points, there are very many talking points with that game. One of the talking points is Holland. Holland seems to be improving in terms of the way he's pressing, and he was rewarded with a goal, a very good goal. His movement was very good, across was put in, and he glanced at a glancing header and it went in. That was how it started. It wasn't. We kept pressing, we kept creating chances, and it was really good because before halftime, before the halftime, Dogu Mount was fouled, and due to his quick thinking, he took a quick free kick, which went straight to Dogu, who was through on goal, and he scored. That was the first half. It was a more of a Danish affair. Haaland and Dog both from Denmark scoring, and it was a good game. The other talking points was that there's still some movements that you can see. There are changes that you can see that they are in the first half, especially in the first half. Dalot and Dog were playing almost as wingers. They were very high up, and Mount and Ahmad, who were the tens, had to cover for them. So there's a tendency for Dalot and Dogu to overlap when Mount and Ahmad come into the midfield, and the midfield was packed. So we kept finding passes, and it was so fluid. In fact, at around the 30-minute mark, we had a 63% possession. Bournemouth had 37%, and this was a very important game considering Bournemouth has been a thorn in our flesh for the last 2 seasons. In fact, in the last 2 seasons, Bournemouth have taken 4 points from us. So, and one of the games has been a thrashing, the other game a draw. So it was really interesting. I really wanted to see if this team had changed because, as you can see, without Cunha and Bumo, it's effectively the same team that played last season. So without new signings, Deco Leon was also not starting. So it was exactly the team that you'd expect that was playing from last season. And I needed to see, have they improved? Have they changed the way they play? Have they taken on the manager's instructions on board? And it seems the preseason is working because you couldn't believe it's the same team that played last season. The movement was fluid. They kept moving. They kept interchanging in the midfield. Bruno had a really good game because I remember Ruben Amorim said that the problem with the team is that they create the chances too fast. It might not make sense when you hear it, but what it means is that we are too eager to create chances, and in the process, we rush and we create chances, but they are not clear cut chances. But when we are patient with the ball, when we move it around, when we wait for the other team to make a mistake, you create a clear cut chance that is almost certainly going to end up in a goal. That's what happened with the Hoyland goal because we kept moving with the ball, and then the lapse in concentration. Al Holland makes a run, and the cross comes in, and he heads it for a goal. Similar to the dog goal, we had moved the ball for some time, and when there was a free kick, the quick thinking from Mount, he puts a ball over the top of the Bournemouth defense. Dogu is through in a goal, and it wasn't a clean strike, but he still ended up scoring, and that's what you need. From there, it was just holding on to the ball, moving it around, creating a chance after chance. There was no urgency from our part. We didn't have to press hard. All we had to do is to maintain, to keep the ball well, and we did that very well. We couldn't believe it's the same Man United team that played in that half. So Mount seems to be improving. From what I saw, he's not. He played 70 minutes of the game. So you can imagine 70 minutes from Mount is very rare, and he was good on all the 70 minutes. There were points okay when we dropped off, but the whole game was good. Uh, we looked at players like Dogu. Dogu was given the man of the match, and rightfully so. He was up and down that left wing the whole game. Oh, for the 70th minutes, for 69 minutes that he was on the pitch, he kept being a problem, and it's something that it's so positive because some of the fans had written Dogu off. Some of the fans thought that maybe he's not a good player, but he has so much potential, and from what I have seen, he's going to be a very good player for us this season. There are other points to look at, such as Ahmad. Ahmad kept changing positions, kept taking up other positions. He was more of a free roll than Mount. He kept coming back deep to get the ball, having one twos, quick turns, and then taking it to Holland. Holland wasn't as he wasn't the what do you call it, the WWE Holland that you are used to it, the wrestling Holland that every last season he held the ball well, even though Zabarni was trying to budge him, but he kept getting the better of Zabani. In the few times he did get the better of Zabani, we had a chance. So he's probably trying to improve, which makes you wonder: should we loan him, or should we just keep him and let him fight it out with Sesko now that we are looking like we might be advancing in the Sesko deal? So if you are advancing in the Sesko deal, Sesko is also young. He's 22. He probably has 3, 4 years experience. And even though he has a much experience than Hoyland in terms of the number of seasons that he's played at high profile, you also have to look at the fact that the two of them can give each other competition, because they are probably Chidobi can get a loan where he gets play consistently, and then they have to how it out, or probably some of you might want for Hoyland to be the one to be sold, probably on loan. But there were good things to see from him today. The way he moved, the way he took the ball, turned, and then passed it to the wing, to Ahmad or to Mount, to Dogu. There was a good link up play. In the few times that he linked up with the players, he looked dangerous. So that is something that we can build on. The defense was good for probably 80, 90 minutes. We didn't concede many chances. And the only goal that they scored was from an own goal. A very good cross was put in. The lead tried to clear it, and unfortunately it went in for a goal. But by that time, the game was won. The game was at 4-0. So the scorers were the Dogu, Ahmad, Hoyland, and Ethan Williams for the 4 goals. Probably scored all the 5 goals, considering their goal came from Delete. The assists were from Dogu, Mount, and Leon, and they can see the team is moving around. The team. One of the good things about that game is that last season we really had a big problem with goals. We weren't attacking well enough. We weren't scoring enough goals, and to score for it might seems like preseason, but the style of play. This is the second game running that we have had back-to-back wins. We couldn't get a single back-to-back win against Premier League opposition last season. So we might not take it lightly. And as much as it's preseason, there are those elements of the game that you see. We didn't link up well last season. We weren't moving constantly. So every single player was moving. And from Dogu's interview, he acknowledged that with the preseason, they are now understanding what Ruben Amorim wants from his players. They understand his system better. They understand his ideas better. And as you can see, just like uh, the manager said, he wants a preseason. He needs to get time with the players, and he wasn't getting that because from the time he came in, he was having a game every third day, every 3 days. Every 3 days, you have a game. and you don't have time to build patterns in training. So preseason has been good because they are building patterns, and you can see them. You can see what Ruben Amorim wants to do with this team, and it gives you hope that it's going to be a good season if that continues. I know you can't read so much from the season. If I can remember well, we won all our games and Avangal only for the season to be a bit dire, but you can tell there is a chemistry, there's an understanding between the players that they can work together. There's also the team spirit is also good. It seems the players that were causing trouble were removed, and the team is starting to gel. Every person knows they have competition for positions. The team that came in the 69th minute at halftime, Maguire was substituted and Delete came in. In the 69th minute, nine more players were substituted, but at the end of the game, the only person who played the whole game was Tom Heaton, and he really had a good game, including a very good save he made. But the other 10 players, the outfield players, and even after changing for all of them 10 players, they have still maintained a good level and they were able to score. Diego Leon with a cross that was scored by Ethan Williams. So Diego Leon with the assist that was scored by Ethan Williams. So there was a lot of positivity to look at. There are still some concerns because as I watched the game against Casemiro seems to be rushing into tackles, and the pace of the game is still troubling him. He keeps making a few errors here and there, and it's a concern because we really need his replacement because he can't play the small teams, the teams that. But if we play a team that has high tempo, it's going to be a problem. Having Casemiro and Bruno in the midfield is going to be a problem for us against the bigger teams, against the teams that press well, against the teams that rush the game, against the counter-attacking teams. You want legs in midfield, and we don't have enough of them when we have Bruno and Casemiro. Considering Bruno tends to drift, tends to play as if he's playing a free role. Although he was very good today, he made more passes. It seems he's taken the advice on board for him to be patient in terms of creating chances, because as Ruben Amorim said, we are too fast to create chances, and when you're too fast to create chances, most probably you'll create chances that are half chances that the strikers will struggle to score. But when you are a bit patient with the opportunities will arise. There's going to be a lapse in concentration from the other team, and if your strikers are continue to make as good runs as Haaland made today, he's going to get on the end of one of those crosses like he did. Other points is that after halftime, Ahmad continued with his good play. He had very good play from the first half, and the second half he continued pressing, hustling the defenders, getting into these pockets of spaces that were getting in the midfield, getting in the wing. You couldn't mark him. He was almost everywhere, and from his movement, he was able to, and the chaos that he was creating, he was able to get a goal. It wasn't such a smooth goal because it was a scramble in the box, and he finally found the ball and scored. But it shows that we have the goals now, because if you can have Mbeumo and Cunha out of the team and you still are fluid, once they come back to the team, we have Ahmad, we have Mbeumo, we have Cunha, we have Ahmad. All those players can score, and with the likes of Dogu chipping in here and there, it would go a long way to solving our attacking problems from last season. Considering we're also getting Sesko from the last two seasons, he's been getting around 13 to 15 league goals. The league goals in Bundesliga are always questionable in terms of the quality, because some of the quality of the teams are so low, and even the top teams you find it's only Bayern, perhaps even Bayer Leverkusen, maybe Dortmund, Eintracht Frankfurt. But from there, the level is not that good. They don't defend that well. So it's going to be, we have to get him until and know if he can really hack it in the Premier League. But it looks positive, because the chances that were created with a good striker who has good movement and good finishing. The good thing with Sesko is that he tends to outperform his XG, and when you find a player who's having a higher XG, is that he's taking most of the chances that are created. So the chances might not be many, but the ones that come his way, he's able to dispatch them, and we can do it such a such a striker, my preference earlier would have been Watkins because he's Premier League proven. So it's going to be a risk, but like most signings, there's always a risk. In fact, in most cases, you'd be very lucky when 70% of your signings make it and become better players than they were. Most signings you have around most people are targeting a 60 to 70% success rate in the signings. That way, if you are signing 5 players, you're probably looking at three or four of them being a consistently in the first 11, which can be good because then you have a good signings that will improve. You want to improve your first 11 and the players that were playing the first 11 to be the ones giving you depth. That way you can continuously improve. And we saw most of the improvements. Euro is going to be a good player. I don't know how I'd forgotten talked about him, but Euro is going to be a good player. He was everywhere. He kept getting out of danger. He's very comfortable with the ball even when being pressed, and that is something you need crucially because when you're playing three at the back, you need a very good a center back who's comfortable with the ball, who can get into the midfield, play probably as a six. And when Euro is playing as a six, he adds to the midfield the amount of players in the midfield, and so you can be able to find the free pass. There's always somebody who's free to receive the pass, and that's how we won. We were able to have good possession, especially in that first half, because there was always an extra man coming into the midfield and helping to beat the press. Because once the defenders got the ball, it served as a trigger for Bournemouth to press. But when they pressed and you have a defender who's comfortable with the ball, he'll always find a way to get out of those positions. Then you have an overload in midfield, and the other players from the defense have to come in to try to get the ball. Then you can have one ball over the top, or you can have one ball to the wide players. That's why Dogu and Dalot were playing as wide, very wide, like as almost like wingers. So the moment we were able to get the ball from midfield, it was sprayed over to them, and they created chaos because the other players will come to join in. And before the players that had pressed can be able to come back, there were so many chances. So it's going to be constantly, we'll need very good wing backs. Dogu performed his role well. Dalot is still shaky. As you can see, most of the balls that went to him were wasted. He probably took a hit that or too delayed and until the ball was blocked when he was trying to put in the cross, or probably put it back instead of using that space to penetrate and probably cause trouble. So I think we still need a right wing back to be able to play with Ahmad. I'm not still convinced on Dalot. I think we might need a right wing back who can be able to play when Ahmad is not playing, because Ahmad looks like Ahmad will consistently be playing between right wing back and the 10. Belmo also will also come in and be able to playing right wing back at the 10. So both of them might start most of the games, but we need a good deputy, because any injury to Ahmad and we'll have back to Dalot, and I'm really not confident about Dalot. He might improve over the season, but I'm still think we really need an upgrade from him. He might be the backup, or he might compete for the other positions, but we need an upgrade in that position. But right now, the focus should be on the striker, and you see the priority is Sesko. Then we can get a midfielder. If you can have good sales, then a midfielder like Baliba would have been so good. With a midfielder like Baliba would have been. We kept moving the ball around well, and one of the concerns was only the defensive part of the game, because when you have the ball, we are playing so well, but when they break up on us, the midfield is a bit questionable. So there's still that concern, and if you can be able to get a good striker, probably a midfielder, then we can fix the goalkeeping, and we'll be good to go. Heaton was good. He still has it in him, because against Premier League opposition he held his own, and if not for just the own goal, he could have kept a clean sheet. He was gutted in the end because he wasn't able to keep a clean sheet. But all in all, he was able to have a good game all through from the start to the finish. If it goes like that, he might be the player to start that Arsenal game if we don't have a goalkeeper in place. Either him or Baindir will start the game because Moonana has not had a preseason because of the injury, and by the time we are nearing towards the end, so I don't think he'll have a preseason by then. The other point is that we talked about Mason Mount. We talked about Ugarte and Mino. They are still good. They came in at the 69th minute, and their partnership works. It seems to be working very well. You can see they are getting used to each other. So okay, Ugarte had an error for the late goal because he was robbed of the ball, and then a cross was put in, and in the process, there was a Bournemouth player behind him, and he had just to try to clear it. So unfortunately, in trying to clear it, he top poked it into the net. So you can see there are still improvements to make, but there's a lot of promise from that game, and hopefully we'll get to watch more of those games. So in my opinion, the Everton game has become even more important because uh, I think there are only two games in which Ruben Amorim should try out his first 11 that will play that Arsenal game. So the likes of Mbeumo and Cunha need to start playing. Mbeumo has been training for the last 2 weeks, but he's not fit enough to start a game. Ruben Amorim suggested that he'll start the Everton game, so I'd like to, or he will play in the Everton game. I don't know if he'll start, but I'd like to see him start in that game, get some minutes, then start in the Fiorentina game, get some minutes, and then be ready for the Arsenal game. I'd also like to see Cunha play. It was a wise decision to rest some of the players. It was tough conditions. It was windy. It was rainy. And if Cunha was suffering from fatigue, he probably will benefit from the rest so that he's fresh for the Everton game. Then they can come back to England, play the Fiorentina game, and we can see where we move from there. So hopefully we'll have a striker by then. But even though even if we won't have a striker, there are going to be other options that you can have. You can have Mbeumo in the striking position with Ahmad and Mount behind him, or Ahmad and Cunha behind him. So there are options that you can have. Hoyland also looks good. The way he looks to have found found confidence, and in the West Ham game, he almost scored after around 2 minutes. A very ferocious shot that hit the post. And in this game, he had a few good chances, including the one he scored from. So I think he might do a job. He might do a job for us. So we'll hope to bring more news as they come along. Okay, as we watch the game, as we continue to enjoy Man United, and we hope to continue interacting. Have a good day.